001, requesting the hell out of, for a long 003. Time it took a lot of time, but I finally 006 found 3 stories that take place 008 during school 013 lockdowns. It was a typical boring day in 016 calculus, only it was Friday 7th period 019, meaning the week was almost over, and 021 spring break would finally be upon us. So 023, everybody was getting antsy in their 025 seats. I could tell we didn't have a test 028 that day, like a lot of my friends did 030 with their other teachers. So our teachers 032 in the middle of class just decided to 034 start playing games with us on 035's calm. He was a very laid-back 038 teacher like that, as we were doing some 041 brand logo quiz on Spore. I remember the 044 exact moment. It 047 happened right after my friend answered 049 a question. I remember the exact answer. 051 to Adidas, the dean's voice came through 05 for the 055 loudspeaker. He sounded panicked, and 057 frantic, as he told all the teachers this 1 o'clock was not a drill and to go into 102 lockdown. I actually got the chills, and I 105 got goosebumps on my arms, as our usually 107 laid back teacher 2 seemed panicked. As 110 he ran to turn off the lights, and 111 ushered us to the back corner of the 114 room. We all sat in silence for about 17 minutes, and then the usual buzzing that 119 came from a panel in the back of the 121 room ceased, indicating that the school 123 must have cut all the power. We all 126 looked at each other, realizing this must 128 be serious. 130, a few more minutes of waiting later. We 133 heard a man screaming at the top of his 135 lungs coming down the hallway to girls. 137 in the class actually started crying 139, which made all of us even more scared. As 142, the screaming got closer to the 144 classroom. The lunatic sounding man 146 started banging on the lockers, while 148 screaming, "I'll kill all of you." It was at 151 that moment that I started to fear for 153, my 153 life. My teacher shushed us as we all 157 looked at each other to see our peers 158 reactions to 0 the banging, then moved from the lockers to 02 to our classroom 205 door, and that's when one of the crying 207 girls screamed 209 no. The banging on the door only grew to 12 worse as the man started screaming open 215. Up 2 of the girls in the class were 217 crying out loud 219. Now it felt like an eternity that 221 man was pounding at the door. But to 24 eventually, he finally continued down the 226 hallway, screaming like a mentally insane 228 person, until we could not hear him, to 31 anymore, I'd say. 10 minutes later though, 233, it felt like half an hour, given the 235 situation. The dean came back on the loud 237 speaker explaining the situation, which 240 was surprising for him to do. He 242 explained that some apparently mentally 2:44 unstable person entered the building, and 246 assaulted the woman sitting at the front 248 desk, causing her to flee the building to 50 screaming, and staff wasn't sure if the 252 man was armed or not. Now, this was before 255 the school had cameras or could afford 257 proper security, so the school was 3 o'clock wide open to something like this. 301 happening, the staff had done a sweep of 303, all the hallways and classrooms, and 305 couldn't find him, so the dean instructed 308 the teachers to resume teaching, but to 310 keep all the doors locked, and to not let 312 any students leave for any 315 reasons. The most disturbing part, however, 318, is that one of the janitors working the 319 night shift found the man sleeping in 320 to one of the storage closets near the back 324 end of the school, and according to 326 rumors that were spread by my peers, 328 sticking out of his pocket was a 443:3 1 Magnum. The janitor must have done 334 something stupid to wake him up for 335. Example: leaving the closet door open 3:38 because by the time a police officer 339 could arrive on the scene, the man was 3:42 gone. My entire class, as far as I am, no 3:45. This day has no idea if this man was 3:48 ever found, but I like to think that 3:50 right. Now, he's being given the proper 3:50 to help that he needs. 3:59 music. 4:02. My school has 2 lunch periods. First 4:04 lunch period is for all 6th graders, 4:06, and some 7th graders. The second 4:09 lunch period is for the other half of 4:11, the 7th graders and all. 8th for 13 graders. The lockdown happened in the 4:15 beginning of 4/17 October. The day the lockdown occurred, at 4:19 was overcast and rainy during the first 4:02 lunch period. I heard 4 loud, 4:24 booms. I personally thought it was 4:26 thunder, but the entire lunch crowd for 28 started screaming. I was thinking for 31, those kids were just serious underscore, but for 33, the campus security came in and started 4:35 yelling at people to go into the 436 multipurpose room, and the kids who were 439 in line buying lunch had to throw out 440 their lunch and come inside me, and some 443 friends went inside the room along with 445A. Huge group of other kids, everyone was 448 curious as to what was happening. Our 451 multipurpose room is huge, and the back 453 wall of the room is made of see-through 455 glass. When me and my friends were rushed for 58 inside, the campus security was covering 5 o'clock, the glass with the curtains, and the 502 were adults at every exit. My friend Eric 505 was curious as well as the rest of us, so 507, he asked one of the adults, what was 509 going on? When he came back, he said, you, 513, know how right in front of TMS. There's 514 those houses, I replied. Yeah, there's this 519 mentally disabled crazy man. That 521 barricaded himself in front of his house. 522, and he's threatening to commit suicide. 524, and kill the cops if he's evicted. He was 527, walking around outside of school. 528, watching kids. In weird way, Eric told 530 to us. It turned out the man was also a 534 registered sex offender, making matters 537 worse. We were stuck in the multipurpose 539 room for a whole hour, taking up to 542. Periods after the whole thing was 544 settled, we were escorted to our 546 classrooms. One by one, I later found out, 549, that the man lives next to my friend, 551 Brandy, who told me about the previous 553 Halloween when she saw the same man at 556, his window, cutting his arm and writing 558 in his own blood. Don't come here, or 6 o'clock, I'll kill you on his 602 window. Of course, being Halloween people, 605, including Brandy, assumed it was just for 607 the holiday, but after this horrific 609 incident, we knew this man was mental, and 612, we're glad he never got near 614 music. 621 us, I'm 22 years old, fresh out of college. 624, and I recently got a job at my old high 626 school as a sort of computer intern. In 628, the school basement. 630, the basement of the school is very messy. 632, and disorganized, but there is a small 635 3ers office. That's actually very nice. 637, down there, it has 3 nice big desks. 641, 2 mini fridges, a flat screen, TV. 643, mounted on the wall, and oh, so satisfying. 646, air conditioning, a luxury the students, 648, and teachers cannot enjoy in the school. 650, and of course all the school servers, and 652 other computery 655 stuff. I got the job because 3 of my 658 old computer teachers flat out adored me. 701, I could actually consider them as real 703 friends, not just teacher figures, so they 705 all helped tremendously in landing me 707. This 7-9 job, it's been great until something that 712 happened. A few weeks 714 ago, my 2 coworkers that shared the 717 office with me, Dave and Gary, weren't in 719 the office at the time. They were 721 upstairs working on papers, or whatever. I 725 was eating my sandwich during my lunch, 727 break, when I got a phone call from 729 of the women in the front office, 730 telling me the school was on lockdown, 732, and that somebody possibly armed had 734 entered the school there. Wasn't much 737 that I could do other than turn off the 739 lights, because surprisingly, as nice as 741 this little office was, it didn't have an 744 actual door to it, just a big opening, and 746 the door to the whole basement. Didn't 748 even have a working lock for my own 751 safety? I did turn off all the lights in 753, the office, and my computer screen. I kept 756, my phone on the desk, texting both Gary, 758, and Dave, but they wouldn't respond. I sat 802 down there in the dark, playing games on 804 my phone for like 20 minutes, waiting for 806, the call from up front, to tell me the 808 resume working. I had no idea what was 811 happening. I couldn't hear what was going 812 on upstairs from down here, but I was not 815 allowed to make any calls until I was 817 informed that the lockdown was 819. Over then the noisy basement door, 822, opened as the creaking echoed across the 825 basement and into my office. I sat up 827 from my seat, wondering if I should to 829 call out Gary or Dave. I was eager to get 832 some info from them. Someone then came 835 running down the stairs, and their 836 footsteps were approaching my office. I 839 pushed away my chair and crawled under 8 for one desk. Somebody entered the office, but did 844 not turn on the 847 lights? There was just 851 silence. I can't even describe the fear I 853 was experiencing. I felt like if I made 856 one sudden noise, I'd be a dead man. 9 o'clock. Suddenly my phone dinged as I got a text 904 message. I felt my entire world shrivel 907 up and die at that one moment as I 909 clenched my teeth in fear. Footsteps 912 suddenly moved closer to me until I 914 finally dove out from under the desk in 916 capitulation, begging whoever it was, not 919, to kill me. And just then, someone grabbed 920 to my arm and pulled me 924 up. It was some guy in a red plaid 927 button-up jeans and a reddish-black 930 cap. He told me it's okay, I'm just down 933. Here hiding with you. What's going on up 935 there? I whispered to him. He kinda 938 ignored my question and asked me if 940 there's an exit down here. I told him 943. Yeah, around that 945, way before he could do anything else. I 948 asked him, who are you? There was a brief 951 moment of silence before he started 953 explaining he was coming in to pick up 955, his son, when a teacher told him to hide 958. After his explanation, I checked my phone 1001 and saw the text I received was from 1003. David said, dude, this is _crazy. 1007, some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's 1009 wearing a red shirt and hat, whatever. You 1012 dude, don't come 1013 upstairs. I was about to reread that text 1016 out loud to the man until I realized I won.